I cared about you, I'd worry. And I need to say, I care about you dearly. Did you see the way I turned my head in fury just to dodge the gaze you were throwing at me with your vapor eyes? With your vapor eyes. Whoa.
Hello everyone, this is Jessica from Twin Cities Media, and I'm sitting in here with Colin Campbell of The Shackletons.
Hello.
This is Track by Track, and we're going to be talking today about the new EP that they have out, which is called The Horizon Lines. It just came out, I think, late last year.
Yeah, December.
So, yeah, we're really excited about it, and I first saw you guys down at First Ave for the Best New Bands. And,
oh, great.
Yeah, so we're excited about what you guys are doing, and today we just want to talk about the album and the recording process and just to start off, I guess I'll throw it over to you and let you introduce yourself as well as the other members of the Shackletons who are not here today.
Hello, my name is Colin Campbell, and I sing and play guitar in Colin Campbell and the Shackletons, and we are an indie rock band from the Twin Cities area, and we've been going for the last couple years, and the band consists of myself, my older brother Cameron on bass, and my little brother Evan on drums.
Awesome. Well, to start off, why don't you just tell us about the process maybe from the beginning of working on putting out this EP and what kind of led up to this finished product that we have?
It actually came out after our third studio sessions at Flowers. Ed Ackerson runs it, and he is behind the scenes of so many important, super cool things. I really look up to that man, and his studio is top notch. It's amazing. I think he's the only person to ever record The Replacements since they initially broke up in 1991, which is, for me, that's like it, you know? We went at the end of 2014, and we recorded things just for demos, and none of those made it on the EP, but that was kind of our first thing. We're like, okay, we can start doing this. And then that following year, it's about the same time, we had another session there, and only one of those songs made on the final product, which is Vaporize.
Okay.
And then we decided we wanted to do an official EP, and we went to the studio and recorded the other 4 songs on the EP in a 2-day session. We're really rushing it, you know? And it's always a fantastic experience, and it kind of deconstructs your songs and puts them back together better how they were. And it was a lot of fun, a lot of work, a slight, financial commitment, but in the end, we're proud of what we put out, and we're excited to get back into the studio actually fairly soon to put some more complete stuff together. Awesome.
How did you get connected with Ed originally?
I saw Ed. Well, I've been a BNLX fan for a very long time,
Great,
and I love BNLX. And I first saw them. There used to be this bar down in the Loring Park area. I don't think it's there anymore. But they used to have shows in the alley. And they were playing on a loading dock for trucks in this alley that had Chinese lanterns strung
That's
up from the
awesome.
ceiling, and there was it was them and the Jaffies and a whole bunch of other bands. And I was like, this guy's really cool. So I made sure I went and introduced myself, and that was years and years and years ago. And then I've just kind of always listened to BNLX, and then I don't remember if it was we met Ed through Jim McGuinn or we met no, that's exactly it. Jim McGuinn, me and my father run a blues camp for a not-for-profit organization that kind of hands blues to the younger generation. And Jim McGuinn, the program director at the Current, came in to give a talk, a seminar, and he plays guitar also in BNLX, and so we got close with him, and he's like, you guys should, go into Flowers to record, go with Ed, and I already knew who Ed was, so I was like, cool, let's do that, and it turned out to be an excellent, meshing of personalities. It's great.
Yep. Awesome. So now, okay, let's just jump in to the first track here is 4 a.m. And so I guess just the process, I mean, how did this one come to be? Was it we had lyrics and then, we wanted to record, or just what was...
A lot of this, I know I was told beforehand not to get too heavy, but a lot of these songs are really interesting. Most of them, with the exception of all the goth bands, were written while I was living in Washington. I spent my freshman year at Western Washington University in Bellingham. And the last semester there was like a whole slew of events that were not like fruitful for like a well-being, you should say. And it being Washington, it's really hard to keep upbeat in Washington because it's like drizzling on you every day. Like seasonal depression's a very real thing, and I found that out firsthand. And 4 a.m. actually started off as a little joke riff I wrote for this kid on my floor. He said, write a song called Macaroni, and he gave me lyrics that were just, it said macaroni on a sheet a whole bunch of times. And so I wrote like a little jingly riff for it, but I ended up developing it into the riff for 4 a.m. And then the song's pretty, I don't know, lyrically, it talks about the horizon lines, and that's like for some reason, it kind of speaks to me, the whole horizon lines thing, and it's kind of an inside joke in a way. I used to live on the 9th floor of this hall called Mathis, and you would look down on the bay. It was like $1 million view, but I got it for like dorm room price. But there was this old freighter ship called the Horizon Lines that used to just sit down there. It was out of commission. It just sat there forever. And then one day it was just gone. And we found out it was I think the Gulf of Mexico is where it was being brought. They'd be taken apart for scrap. And around that time when they took that away, that's when like a bunch of turmoil happened with like, you know, social interactions and like, you know, being a rock star girl and all that, you know. But it was around that time. So that song's about that. It was written pretty early on in the long chain of events that would come. And yeah, it's I don't know. I kind of write the songs myself and I bring them back to the guys and they kind of just, you know, slap their parts into it. We develop it and shape it how we want it to go. It's a fun track. It feels like a good introduction to who the Shackletons are, just as a first track. Yeah, I agree. We kind of figured that was going to be the one we wanted to start with. It's not completely out of the gate right away, but then I don't know. It's fun. Yeah. Well, should we go ahead and take a listen to 4 a.m.? Sure. Perfect.
I succumbed to my own Socratic methods. I've become so shattered, it's something we have in common. There is no piece of mud or nine since they moved the horizon lines. Four in the morning ain't the best time to find that you ain't on her mind. Your crooked grin makes me come undone, but I can't win till I see the sun. And you and I could have so much fun, but I can't win till I see the sun. I see the sun. Go!
And again, this is Jessica from Twin Cities Media, and you were just listening to 4 a.m. by Colin Campbell and the Shackletons, which is the first track off of their EP, The Horizon Lines. So, yeah, that's, like I said, a really fun one, just a fun intro to who you guys are as a band. So, yeah, we enjoy it. So the next track that I want to talk about is Tusken Raider.
Yeah.
And as I had to clarify, that is a Star Wars reference.
Of course
so
it is. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I could start with the name. That's in no way the obvious title for the song, you know? The obvious title would be like Breaking Back into the Dawn or something, but that's just like every song ever called something like that. And Tusken, well, I love Star Wars a lot, so I was like, let's just name it Tusken Raider. We say it once in the song, so we're like, cool. No, Tusken Raider is kind of a continuation of 4 a.m. a little bit. It's the latter half of the West Coast turmoil, as you could call it. I think that's the newest song
Okay.
that I've written off the EP. But it kind of came out of that batch
Yep.
of songs
Yep.
that came with this recording.
Absolutely.
Endeavor.
And yes, how was it working on that in the studio with Ed and your brothers?
Well, it that one's interesting. I just had the riff for it essentially, and I had the idea of the lyrics, but the stops and stuff and the background vocals and like the lead guitar part, that was all kind of us brainstorming in the studio, because we didn't have much time before we went to the studio for this one, because I was in Washington when we recorded it.
Okay.
I believe. A lot like the other ones, I came with kind of the mostly assembled package of it. I'm like, this is what I got. And Cameron and Evan have a really good ear for, Colin, you're just doing things that are, that's not going to work. It just makes you look good, which is like not exactly how it goes down, but, they're really good at keeping me level-headed and stuff,
That being family, I'm sure helps too.
Of course, I always say to people, they're like, how do you get along with being in a band with your brothers? And I'm like, well, we're somewhere between Oasis and the Osmonds, somewhere in that middle ground, so it works,
Keeps everybody grounded.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, awesome. Let's go ahead and take a listen to Tuscan Radar off of the EP.
Well, heartbeats, girl, they don't tell no lies. You're speeding far too fast for someone who's got nothing to hide. Resting on your chest. Still we'll call it platonic. Just a few more moments in this whirlpool and I'll be gone. I've been doing it wrong, breaking back into the dawn. Poster above my bed says we don't even live here, it couldn't be more correct. Wax off with your love efforts. So because of you I don't have any hair left. My head was resting on your chest.
We're back, and this is Jessica again from Twin Cities Media, and you were just listening to Tuscan Radar by the Shackletons. And so we just want to go to the next track right on the album. Here is Vapor Eyes, and so I think you had said that this is one of the older songs that you had written.
Yeah.
One of the only ones that made it onto the EP. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, Vapor Eyes, although also written in Washington, was a very early Washington song. I went in there, I wrote the riff. Just kind of came out, and I had this friend. I do have this friend. I can't say had. I really have this friend. And she is a fantastic guitarist, and like we hit it off at a lot of like blues camps and stuff. And she lived in California, and she got accepted to Berklee School of Music, which is like
Huge.
Super cool, I mean, she was always her, but she was like a college version of her, like, See How Hard I Can Party. And like that song was, I don't know, it was just kind of a declaration of like, I'm kind of worried about this, but it's not my business, like 100% not my business at all. And like, I hope everything works for you.
Yep.
And
a lot of people, I think, have felt, especially just with friends and being in college and people. So even though that's obviously personal for you, it's like, no, I think we can all, a lot of us can relate with that on some levels. So,
yeah, it's I forgot about this. The one, like the hook line in the song. One of my really good friends in Washington goes, "Well, that was pretty good, but you're no Frank Sinatra." And he always was just kind of undermining compliments. That was kind of his thing, know. So I'm like, okay, I'll take that. So like, it was assembled in Washington. Then I brought it back, and I had to, figure out the pieces of the drums and the bass with my brothers very quickly to get into the studio. And, you know, Ed was great with like, well, he needs to go up here and he needs to go down here. The piano part was all Ed's idea.
Cool.
But that one was pretty much assembled before anyone else got to it. It was playing on an acoustic guitar before it was playing on anything. So, yeah. Oh, there's a BNLX song called Vaporize, but it's like Vaporize.
Okay.
Like the actual word vaporize and not like the play on words. And Ed almost went, I'm not recording that song. You know? I was like, no, it's completely different. But it was a lot of fun. This one, it actually took in the studio pretty quickly, if I remember correctly. Like, we were pretty on top of it, which was really cool because it was pretty new and I was kind of worried about it. So it was good. It was a lot of fun, and it's the earliest recording out of all these. It's dated by, like, a handful of months.
Very cool. Well, let's go ahead and take a listen to Vaporize.
With your vapor eyes, with your vapor eyes, with your vapor eyes. I'm no Frank Sinatra, and you're Cleopatra. I write you sonatas, but you never hear them. I'm no Frank Sinatra, and you're Cleopatra. I write you sonatas, oh God, I hope you hear them. Whoa.
And we're back, and you were just listening to Vaporize, which is the third track off of the new EP from the Shackletons, the Horizon Lines. So, yeah, we really enjoyed that. Like we were saying, seeing it down at the main room for the Best New Bands was a lot of fun. And so if you get a chance to see the Shackletons live, that is definitely one to look forward to. So the next track is All the Goth Bands. And yeah, this is a fun one. It has a little, when I was listening to the EP, I felt like it had a little different vibe than the rest of the tracks.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's definitely the outlier out of all of them. It is the oldest out of all of them. It was written years ago, and it was actually it was written years ago with completely different lyrics except for the Goth Band's hook, and the whole song was the slow, like, trudging guitar thing. It never went anywhere, really. So it kind of just got put to bed after a while, and then I always kind of dug it, so I dug it back up. But I think, you know, looking back and like what night inspired that song, which was actually a BNLX show at the Varsity, I think, if I'm looking at it, because I was referring to the goth bands, a lot of goth bands that night. It's about someone like, I went with someone who was like a younger family friend, and, you know, you kind of watch those people grow up, and it's kind of in, like, Vaporize in the same way that I've kind of watched them growing up into someone I would rather them not. And it's about the realization of, like, okay, it's kind of the tipping point of growing up, and, you know, I'm sure I did it to people too, where they're kind of like, okay, what's he going to do now? You know, is he going to go this way, that way? And it's kind of looking at a family friend of mine, who's a friend of mine still, and just kind of, you know, starting to see that she was going in a direction that is, you know, in all honesty, it's not a bad direction. She's fine, you know.
Right.
She's functional, she's busy, she's a great singer, but just kind of becoming a person that I didn't foresee her coming, I guess, and it's just kind of dwelling on that, I suppose. But once again, since it's like an older song for me, it's really hard for me to figure out exactly what I'm singing about, because as I wrote more and more songs, it became more apparent to me it was more pointed, what I was writing about.
Right. Versus this one is just, it's older. It was something that happened.
That rhymes, you know.
You're like, that works.
Yeah.
Well, should we go ahead and take a listen to
Sure.
All the Goth Bands?
Sure.
Though the dark clothes were a little much, all the goth bands never lost their touch.
all the goth bands from the Shackletons, which is one of their older songs, but it was the 4th track on this new EP. Now we're going to talk about the last song, which is, if I may say, my favorite off of the EP. It's called Things I Learned While Drunk in Vancouver. And again, seeing you play it down at the main room was very fun. And it just was, again, a feeling that we can all, I think, relate to of, like, lyrically, it's very straightforward and the name of the song. But it made me laugh and was fun to see live. So tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I bet you can't guess what it's about.
I can't. Tell us.
It was a Washington thing. It was during the turmoil. It's not about the turmoil. I guess it's coined the turmoil now. But what was it? My friend had 3 tickets to go see James Bay.
All right.
She was going with her mother and her sister. It was in Vancouver, which is it's closer than Seattle to us, so it's right there. And her sister backed out last second. She's like, do you want this ticket? You can have it for free. And I will never, ever turn down a free show. Even if it's just like, nails on a chalkboard. If someone's like, I paid to go see it. Do you want to? I'll be like, yeah,
sure.
Cool, let's go. And we went into Canada, which is a magical land. It is, when you're 19, it is like, it is the Holy Land,
Yep.
Because all of a sudden you are an adult in every regard, and you're like, all proud. And so we go get dinner, and with dinner, I'm like, can I have a gin and tonic? And they're like, sure. And I'm like, extra limes, please. Because I'm like, I'm not going to like this. Oh, my God, never get extra limes in a gin and tonic. It just makes it worse. And I had a couple of those, and then went to the show, and I got a cider, and...
Feeling good.
Right. I was thinking,
great.
I was with my friend and her mom. My plan was to have a drink or two, be totally fine.
Yep.
But sometimes I forget that I'm an extreme lightweight, So like, I'm completely bombed watching this pop concert, And I remember there's a band. They started playing on the Current too. This band called Joseph. It's 3 sisters.
Yep.
And I remember my friend telling me, because she knew I was drunk, to go get their numbers because they're about our age. And I remember freaking out. It caused this whole chain of events of me just having these existential crises, Yep. That were very innocent, but at the same time, like, I was drunk and in Vancouver, and it was a weird situation. And her boyfriend was mad at her for, like, drinking or whatever, which is a noble thing to do. I'm not going to take sides on it, but, like... yeah.
So you wrote a song about it.
I did. The next day, I had my little notebook, and I just wrote things I learned while drunk in Vancouver, and it kind of just spawned from that, because I'm like, there's a song in here somewhere, and I didn't mean for it to be so literal. It was just, it happened.
Right.
It's different than most of our songs, I feel. It's kind of more laid back, slightly more storyteller than we generally are.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's good. It's good to laugh at yourself, and it's good to invite rooms full of people to laugh at you, So, yeah, it was a lot of fun to write. It's probably my favorite songwriting experience, just because I have a very, very set time frame I can reference. It's like, oh yeah, that meant that, and that meant that. None of it's cryptic, like, at all.
Very literal, yes.
Very literal, yeah.
Well, no, it's a lot of fun. And so instead of listening to it off of the CD, we're actually going to listen to an acoustic version of this track by Colin Campbell.
Yay.
Here's some things I learned while getting drunk in Vancouver. Extra limes in a gin and tonic don't make it better. The city of glass houses, pretty girls roughly my age, whom I wanna talk to, but even buzzed I'm afraid. Severed tongue in silence, I will stay. Here's some things I learned while getting drunk in Vancouver. A hankering for cider is strong on the north side of the border. And some people write their songs so they can't just get laid. I find this fake, but I'm envious, 'cause I can't write this way. Untouched and lonely I will stay. And he was pissed at you for some things you didn't do. And you were mad at him on his high horse, talking down to you. Do you remember what I said? Do you remember what I said? I said, hey, let's get spot drunk, let's enjoy this weekday night. You said, hey, nah, that's alright, I'm not as petty as you'd like. I said, hey, let's get spot drunk, we'll stumble back into the night. You said, hey, nah, that's alright, I'm not as petty as you'd like. Oh, here's some things I learned while getting drunk in Vancouver. One more sip ain't gonna quell that urge to call her. I thought I had restraint, but my phone had the death rattle. A silicone brick on the deathbed, all dark and cold. My story is gonna go untold. Oh, Vancouver, oh, Vancouver, oh, Vancouver. Here's some things I learned while getting drunk in Vancouver. Here's some things I learned while getting drunk in Vancouver.
So that was an acoustic version of Things I Learned While Drunk in Vancouver. So Colin, thank you so much. That was awesome. So yeah, that's the EP. That is the Horizon Lines from Colin Campbell and the Shackletons. So Colin, what do you guys have coming up that we can look forward to?
Well, for one, on the 17th of March, we are supporting Jordan Gatesmith's new band Wellness at the 7th Street Entry. He used to be in a band called Howler, and they were really important to me growing up. We always jammed Howler songs in my basement, so we're really happy that we're playing with them. And then, you know, at the end of March, we're back in Flowers Studio, and we're going to record some singles. So look out for those. Songs like Minnesota Girls are going to be coming out, studio versions, which should be pretty great. So, you know, just stay tuned. You know, Facebook's probably your best bet. We have other social medias as well, and we'll keep you posted on all the going-ons.
So for tickets for that show on the 17th, is that on First Ave's
website?
Yep,
First Ave's website.
Awesome. So thank you again, Colin, for coming in and for playing that acoustic version of Things I Learned While Drunk in Vancouver. That was seriously a treat, and we love that song, and we love the EP. And
thank you very much.
We're really excited to see what's to come from you guys.
Thank you.
So again, this has been Track by Track. I am Jessica from Twin Cities Media, and thanks for listening.